Hello there. Today we have a pretty chill video. I asked you on Instagram for some questions that I could answer, so we're going to do a Q&A session. I really love getting the opportunity to interact with you directly like this, to get questions, to answer them, to get feedback and engage with it. So stuff like this is a small way to do it, but it's really fun for me to hear what you want to hear from me and say stuff. We're going to start off with the very first question that I got when I put this up on my Instagram story. It is, what is the best accessory combination? My answer to that is all of the above. As you can see, I have a ring on. This is an Oura ring and actually tracks all my health data, but I also have a watch, a bracelet, 2 chains at all times, and an earring. So I wear all the accessories all the time. I do like to match metals. Everything is silver. I do have some mixed metals. This right here, this beautiful watch from Larrabee has mixed metals, but I try to always have silver on. I think it looks really good on my skin tone. I do think adding a belt to an accessory combo is also great, especially if the buckle is matching the metals that you like to wear. So to have a whole suite of accessories that go from like watch, bracelet, like wrist, fingers, neck, ears, anything you can do to just like bring it all together is really cool. I also think things like scarves, even gloves can be really cool. Hats are great as well. I just think that if you do it in a way that's cohesive, no matter what the combo is, it's all gonna work. Like some days I don't want a lot of rings. I think yesterday I wore one on this finger, one on this finger, and that was enough. Like that was enough for me to feel cool, like I had enough rings on, and also feel like mature and understated for the day. That was the vibe I was going for. So as long as you tie everything together well, I think any accessory combo works, but I like to go for like everything. The second question that we got is also amazing. What gives me peace during hard times? Of course, my family, my girlfriend, my friends, those people are all amazing sources of peace during hard times. And not just peace, but also pushing me forward, helping me through a hard time, not just to get through it, but to leverage it and grow from the experience. But on an individual level, like internal things that bring me peace, one is actually getting dressed every day. It seems silly, but if I put on an outfit that feels good, that makes me feel confident, that makes me feel like I'm capable and can handle anything, I get better at handling things. So taking care of myself well, I think getting dressed in a good way is a part of that, but just generally practicing good self-care. That includes keeping up with a skincare regime, that includes, basic hygiene, but also taking it a step further and treating yourself a little bit. What's one thing I like to do? I like to do face masks, especially during times that are stressful because my skin starts to break out, so doing a face mask and like downloading for 10 minutes and being like, all right, just gonna do this face mask and chill, and then re-enter the workflow. That feels so nice. But I also get a lot of solace in training. Running has always been that for me. It's always been a place to push that energy, whatever I might be feeling. If I'm frustrated, excited, whatever, if I feel too much, because that happens, like sometimes emotions get overwhelming, I pour that into running. And that's not just running. That for a long time was powerlifting and bodybuilding. That could be any athletic endeavor. I just like to move. I feel like kinetic activities always help me sort through emotions and ideas. What else? Reading. Reading is great. I think, sitting with a cup of tea and a good book is always a great way to get through a hard time. But yeah, it's a combination of taking care of myself and then reaching out to people and connecting with people and drawing on their knowledge, expertise, the love that I share with them to motivate me to get through it and be stronger. Go-to coffee order. This is very simple. It's an Americano. And I do it without any milk. I just do a straight up Americano. In the summer, I do iced. In the winter, I do hot. Is it basic? Yeah. Is it inexpensive wherever I go? And I know I'm gonna get a good cup of coffee and like have that good energy boost no matter what? Absolutely. If I'm somewhere new, I also like to try out espresso. Ryan Winter started getting me into espresso because I visited Sweet Bee like last year, and he was like super passionate about espresso and talking about it. And so now I like to try espresso when I go somewhere new. I'm not good at tasting it yet. I feel like you have to really have a developed palate, but I keep trying new stuff. So yeah, I would go for an Americano first. If there's a cool specialty latte, maybe, and then matcha. Favorite contemporary fiction book? This is a great question because it depends on how you define contemporary fiction. Are you saying it's like only like literary fiction, like not like sci-fi fantasy? For contemporary, is it like the last 100 years, the last 10 years? Right now, I would say that it's Babel by R.F. Kuang, which is technically fantasy, but it reads like literary fiction, like it's incredibly well written and the themes are just extraordinary to like mull over in your head. It's very hard-hitting, it's very impactful, it's a really good book. And it's definitely contemporary, it came out in the last few years. If Vonnegut counts, I don't even know if that's sci-fi or not. This is where it gets interesting, is like there's all these lines between genres that aren't really there. They're just agreed upon to sort of be put in these boxes. Vonnegut, anything by Vonnegut, Slaughterhouse-Five, Sirens of Titan, definitely up there. If we're including sci-fi, Ursula Le Guin is up there. Left Hand of Darkness might be my number one. I don't even know, dude. It's like so complicated to define that in the first place. Let's say Babel, it's really good. Definitely check it out if you're interested. Pros and cons of living in New York City. The biggest pro for me so far has been work. And by work, I mean like anything I do. I'm very blessed and lucky to be able to do like all these creative things for work, whether it's modeling, content creation, some new stuff that I'm like just now working on that's really exciting to me. There's so much opportunity for that. There's so much opportunity to meet incredible people and share ideas and open up these new opportunities for extraordinary things to do. One con that I'm feeling right now is the cold. It's not new to me. I was in Boston for 5 years. But as you can see, I'm like wearing a thermal under my t-shirt. Growing up in Florida, it was very warm. Here it's like 30 now, which is fine. It's manageable. It's gonna get colder. But you know, every time that winter hits, I'm like, all right, time to bundle up, time to get all my stuff together. I just bought new wool socks. So the cold, it's not a huge con, but it's something to consider. If you want to move here and you're also from the South, like definitely get ready to bundle up. How did me and my girlfriend meet? She seems lovely. She is lovely, and we actually were friends before we started dating. There's a whole story to it. I think it'd be really fun to get her on a video or even like a podcast type thing one time and sit down and just tell the story. But we were friends. I'd say we were even like best friends for almost a year before we started dating. Literally, I just turned to her one day. We were hanging out with our friends. We were heading back from a ski trip, and I just looked at her and I was like, oh, there's some new feelings there, or there's some feelings there that are bubbling up that I hadn't really considered before. When you're going from a friendship to a romantic relationship, it's not exactly easy. It is easy in a lot of ways. Like, it's, I think, the best case scenario, because you know the person, you've seen them in great moments and in bad moments. But the transition period of finding out exactly what your feelings are and taking the leap of like, this could ruin a friendship technically, like potentially could change the dynamic of a friend group, change the dynamic of, you know, a friendship. Yeah, the worst case scenario is that it just goes away, that it becomes awkward and you're not friends anymore. So that process is like, you know, it's critical. And so I was very careful with it. I made sure that I knew exactly what I was feeling and I knew exactly what I wanted. And we had a conversation, just kind of set out our expectations together. I think we did it in a really mature way because we both knew what we wanted at that point. And so we were just like, this is what I like. This is what I see in you that I admire. And then we started dating, and it's been amazing since. Most expensive piece, I assume by that you mean like fashion. See, I would relate some things to fashion. Like, I own a couple guitars. I own a few guitars. I don't own a lot of guitars yet. I have a guitar, it's beautiful. It's a 1989 Fender Stratocaster that's been modified with a humbucker pickup in the neck and in the bridge. And that thing cost, I think, $950, like $950. I worked for a summer as a surf instructor, and then I picked that up with some of the money that I made. So that is probably the most expensive piece I've bought in recent memory. I mean, not including like laptop, camera gear, all the stuff I need for work. Here's the thing about me, I don't buy things because they're expensive. I'm not one of those people who's like, this is so expensive, therefore it's nice. To me, quality and how much something resonates with me way outpace the importance of price. I actually like to get the best bargain I can. I did get something really cool gifted to me that's very expensive usually. I'll bring them over. These are the Helliot Emile hiking boots. They're absolutely insane. I think they go for around 500-ish. It depends, like, if they're resale, if they're retail. These I think would be my most expensive piece of clothing right now, and they're absolutely worth it. Like, the details are incredible, the construction's crazy. I'm gonna wear them right now because my feet are cold. They look so cool. Like, dude, they're just so cool. Like, the look of them, the feel, everything's crazy about them. What is my favorite cologne? You're in luck because my cologne collection is right next to the camera right now. Oh my god, this is hard. I think all around it has to be Yves Saint Laurent Y. They've sent me a few bottles of different varieties of this. They sent me the Intense recently and I love it. I just know that this to me feels like me. Like, it's a really nice, classy, just extraordinary scent. It smells so good. Yeah, I don't know. I just associate this with myself at this point. And you know, that brings me to another one that's really good, which is actually Myself by Yves Saint Laurent. But I don't even know, dude. And I also got, let's see, this is Ralph's Club Elixir from Ralph Lauren. The thing about me is that I don't really just have one cologne. I like to have a selection for different events and different vibes that I'm going for. Yves Saint Laurent Y is my #1 go-to, probably my favorite all around. Ralph's Club is a certain vibe, Myself is a certain vibe. My summer scent right now is Beach Walk by Maison Margiela. For a long time I wore Citrus Tea by Dossier, which is like a dupe of Noir 29 by Le Labo. This was my #1 for a long time. It smells so good. But my top spot is Y. What was the hardest part about adjusting to New York? I think just the pace of life here is different. Everything is busier. It's definitely, if you're an introvert like me, a lot of energy that you need to expend to be present at all these things. So for me, the way I handle it is I make sure I have a lot of good alone time, a lot of time to reflect and get my focus right for whatever I'm doing, just to make sure that I'm solid individually so that when I go out into the flow of New York City, that I show up as my best self. So it wasn't necessarily hard, I just think it took the most intention. One of my favorite movies currently, I want to go see Saltburn. It's a very crazy movie apparently. But it seems good. The music that I've heard from it is incredible, so I want to see that. What other favorites? I'm always in love with Howl's Moving Castle. That's my favorite movie of all time. Interstellar's up there. What was it? There's another film I was thinking about recently that I was like, oh, this might be in my top 5. Ooh, Casino Royale. I love Casino Royale. I watch that every year. I think I'm due for a rewatch of 2001: A Space Odyssey. Tell us about your nutrition. I'm boring. I eat pretty much the same thing every day. My girlfriend is studying dietetics, so she kind of clowns on me for the way I eat, which is valid. She has a lot of good points, but I kind of eat yogurt and granola for breakfast every morning with a coffee. Then I have an apple with peanut butter. Then I have 3 or 4 eggs, depending on the size of the eggs, with tortillas and hot sauce, more fruit, some snacks, usually peanut butter pretzels from Trader Joe's. And then I have dinner, which could be like a rice bowl with a protein, that could be like dumplings, steamed buns. I don't know, I try to like get stuff locally to an extent. Like I've been trying to eat pizza out in New York a fair bit because it's really good here. So generally I do like the same thing breakfast and lunch, and then I try to experiment with dinner and like do something new. But if I'm not doing something new out in the world, I do like a rice bowl because I'm boring. What made me get into fitness? I had no choice. I grew up in a family where fitness is part of like the family culture, and I'm so grateful that I did because it gave me a head start on taking care of myself and understanding what my body needs to feel good every day. So my parents put me into martial arts when I was 3 or 4 years old. It was pretty chill. It wasn't like crazy intense martial arts, but that was good because it had fitness elements. It had philosophy to it about doing no harm to others, protecting other people, you know, having a good relationship with the self. And it gave me really good like awareness of myself in space. Like I became very in touch with my body, which was key because a lot of martial arts is about like how you're placing your body, how you're holding yourself, your posture. So that was amazing for me when I started. And then when I was 5, my dad did calisthenics every day in the garage, so I saw him doing it and I was like, can you teach me? So I started doing that. I never really stopped doing calisthenics, but I did martial arts till I was 11. When I was 10, I picked up running, so there was like an overlap time. But then I started triathlon when I was 12, and it kind of went from there. Like I did endurance sports all the way up to 18, did some weightlifting in college, did a lot of rock climbing for a few years there, and now I'm back to running. I've always been into fitness. Like it's always been a part of my life because those were the role models I had when I was young. My parents, my coaches, my different teachers in different disciplines of martial arts, they were all people I looked up to. And they all took amazing care of themselves, not just like training for an aesthetic, not even just training for performance, but training for holistic health. And so seeing that as a young person and growing up with that attitude was so critical to me having a good relationship with fitness. So that is today's Q&A. I love those questions. Thank you to everyone who sent them in. I hope that you saw yours there. I didn't get to all of them, of course. I do want to keep this like at a reasonable time. And my battery is about to die, and I just saw that. So anyways, thank you for the great questions. I love getting to talk to you like this and engage directly. As always, thank you so much for being here, and have a great day.